Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. The avalanche of women reporting sexual harassment by prominent and powerful men continues to snowball. In Hollywood, New York City, Washington, D.C., leaders are stepping back after multiple accusers are coming forward to say they've been taken advantage of. Our Heather Sells is on the story.
Congress is attempting to clean house right now, but there's a lot of work to do. Lawmakers are talking about two of their own who have not come forward.
Well, I think it's good to get this stuff out, name them, just get it out, lay it out.
Here's what allegedly happened when one staffer dropped off research at a lawmaker's home.
The young staffer, is a young woman, went there and was greeted with a member in a towel. It was a male, who then invited her in. At that point, he decided to expose himself. She left, and then she quit her job.
One congressman, 88-year-old John Conyers, a Michigan Democrat, is facing an ethics committee investigation for allegations of sexual harassment. He denies he did anything wrong, but admits making a settlement with an accuser. And Senator Al Franken, a Democrat from Minnesota, is under pressure after allegations of groping by two women. He has apologized. Senate candidate Roy Moore, a Republican from Alabama, is denying allegations he sexually assaulted multiple women, including teenagers.
I never dated underage women, and I never engaged in sexual misconduct with anybody.
When asked by reporters Tuesday, President Trump would only say that Moore has denied it and said he doesn't want to see a liberal win the Alabama race.
I can tell you one thing for sure. We don't need a liberal person in there, a Democrat. Jones.
Sexual allegations are also shocking the media world. Nearly a dozen women have told the Washington Post that veteran journalist Charlie Rose made unwanted advances. PBS and Bloomberg have dropped his show, and CBS has fired him from his morning anchor position.
Let me be very clear. There is no excuse for this alleged behavior.
In Hollywood, the head of Disney Animation and Pixar is taking time off after a reporter cited unnamed sources detailing unwanted advances towards female employees. And in sports, Olympic gold medalist Gabby Douglas joins with other teammates who say they were sexually abused by their team doctor. Back on Capitol Hill, it's come to light that taxpayers have footed the bill for sexual harassment, and that lawmakers have come out on top. Victims must sign non-disclosure agreements and undergo mediation before filing legal claims. A new bill aims to end that practice. Heather Sells, CBN News.
8 people aboard a Navy plane that crashed in the Pacific have been rescued and are in good condition. A C-2 Greyhound transport aircraft crashed while flying across Japan. 11 people were aboard that plane. The search does continue for the 3 other missing people. The cause of the crash is not clear. The names of the crew and passengers are being withheld until their families are notified. Zimbabwe is set to swear in a new leader after former President Robert Mugabe announced his resignation. Mugabe has ruled the country brutally since 1980, when the country won independence from white-majority rule. Cheering and dancing erupted in the country after Mugabe's announcement. Now, Emerson Mnangagwa will arrive in the country today and be sworn in as Zimbabwe's new leader Friday. Emerson served as the vice president of the country before being fired by Mugabe earlier this month. He fled the country, claiming threats against his own life. Still ahead, here on CBN NewsWatch, staying safe during this holiday travel season will show you ways to protect yourself. The growth of terror around the world means an increased risk of danger when traveling, but that doesn't mean you need to throw away your passport and stay at home. Caitlin Burke reports you can get help to travel with confidence.
Are you an American? Are you an American? Are you an American?
No, this isn't a movie, but it's not quite reality either.
Who's a Christian here?
Who's an American?
Raise your hand.
Who's an American?
Here at the Center for Personal Protection and Safety in Reston, Virginia, instructors help frequent travelers learn how to spot trouble and respond to anything from a terrorism attack to pickpocketing.
We're living in a pretty extreme world environment right now. There have always been risks, but we're seeing areas that traditionally have been pretty safe to travel to that, as you look at extremism and terrorism, areas like Paris, Nice, France, Belgium, even London, we're seeing other types of risk that historically just haven't been there.
Sandy participated in today's high-risk travel training course in preparation for a trip to Europe.
We're already kind of planning how will we carry ourselves, what will we carry with us, how will we respond to crowds and all those kinds of things. So it's very useful for us right now.
Randy Spivey is the CEO and founder of the Center for Personal Protection and Safety. He points out that situational awareness is needed by more than just frequent travelers.
If you think about it, the skills we talked today apply when you travel, but they apply when you walk around Norfolk, Virginia as well, because we're teaching how do you recognize potential warning signs before they occur.
Knowing how to react in a crisis can pay off in the rare event that you find yourself in one.
There's a huge difference in how people that are trained versus untrained respond in a crisis. An untrained individual, if they find themselves in that crisis, they're going to be startled, afraid, and then more than likely they're going to freeze and lock up. A trained individual is going to they'll be startled and afraid, but then they're going to recognize, oh, I have some options, and they're able to move with purposeful action.
The Center for Personal Protection and Safety uses a training method called stress inoculation. Through realistic role play, participants must respond the way they might if they were actually in a crisis. Reactions include increased blood pressure, feeling shaky, and trouble putting together thoughts.
With the intensity of his voice, it became more and more real. So it really did get more stressful with his continued fidgeting and the gun and the high pitch. And I forgot in a lot of ways that it was just a training. It felt real.
One scenario involved terrorists demanding that Christians raise their hands. According to Spivey, this is where people often make a mistake.
They feel like that they have to answer that. To answer it no would be denying their faith. To answer it yes, they wind up getting shot. And so what we try and teach people is, it's not denying your faith to not answer that question or to answer it with something other than yes or no. You might be able to respond with, I am a person of faith. Or, I'm so scared right now, I'm having a hard time even thinking about what you're asking me.
Spivey believes that refusing to confirm that you're a Christian doesn't deny your faith. It takes away the legitimacy of the person asking the question. That initial capture phase of a hostage situation is the most dangerous.
You have individuals that are trying to come in and take control of the situation, and they're not in control.
One of you's gonna die today. Who's it gonna be?
Spivey says to remember these 3 C's to help you get out of trouble. Calm, connect, and capitalize. Be a calming influence, especially at first. Connect with your captor on a personal level to become more than an object. And then capitalize by encouraging a negotiated release.
Well, what's your reason? Why shouldn't I kill you?
I'm a mother.
You're a mother.
I have a family.
You have a family. Well, that's a good start.
In today's world, it's about reaching a balance between 2 extremes, paranoia and oblivion. Being somewhere in the middle might just save your life. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Reston, Virginia.
Up next, Denzel Washington delivers a transformative performance in Roman J. Israel Esquire. He's sitting down with us in Studio 5. Denzel Washington delivers a transformative performance in his latest role. He is Roman J. Israel Esquire. And Studio 5 has your first look at the film.
Mr. Ramirez was told he was not under arrest, and yet he was refused use of the bathroom. That's a violation of civil rights.
You can wait and address this at trial.
Oh, I would like to address it now. I'm just saying...
Mr. Israel.
If guards in this courtroom would not allow you to use the bathroom, you would, by all definition, be detained.
I'm going to hold you in contempt if you continue to pursue this.
You're asking me to obey an erroneous court decision. You tell me to wait. In my experience, wait.
Okay, find you in contempt.
Denzel Washington is Roman J. Israel Esquire, an aging activist attorney, struggling to continue his fight for what's right. He's a complicated man and complicated story, created in the mind of film director Dan Gilroy.
And you wrote this character with Denzel in mind.
I really did. I spent a year to write it, and had Denzel not done it, I wouldn't have done the film.
Really?
Yeah.
We meet Roman as he learns his boss and mentor is dying.
I'll take over.
No, you're not capable of continuing the practice.
But I'll take over because in the architecture of this firm, I am a pillar.
Yes, and Roman, I'd hope to reward you for that.
Hope don't get the job done.
Would you call Roman Israel a godly man?
Old Testament. He believes in the law. His faith is in the law. I'm a godly man. Dan is a godly man, and we talked extensively about there's no coincidence he named him Roman J. Israel.
Yeah.
And people say, well, what's the J for? He said, oh, Jiffy. What do you call it? The peanut butter. We don't want to be on the nose, but there is a spiritual aspect to it. He runs the race as far as he could take it.
Denzel disappears in this role, playing opposite Colin Farrell and Carmen Ejogo.
Roman Israel, we'll talk about what to expect if you are arrested.
We're gonna rap. I don't mean hip-hop. I'm sorry. Why are the sisters standing and the brothers sitting?
That's gendered and sexist.
And polite.
And patronizing.
And polite.
A lighter side. Denzel Washington, this character, the attire, what's it like looking at that across?
Yeah. No, but you know, it's funny because even despite all of the look, and there's a lot of look,
Yes.
at the end of the day, you're met with this compassionate persona that somehow finds its way through all of that stuff. And he went all the way. He put a lot of weight on. You know, there's the hair, there's the outfit, but at the core, which is maybe the point, there is somebody that is really worthy of your time and love and attention.
I'm quite certain I can get this organization right back in line with its core beliefs.
This organization?
Yes.
Yeah. I wasn't aware that we had strayed.
And Denzel didn't break character when the director stopped the cameras from rolling.
I'm talking about a return to using activist litigation creatively, defensively, counteroffensively.
He obviously brought a lot to the set. Now, it's my understanding that he also brought the ritual of praying on set. What happened there?
He and I would talk every morning. He'd call you 3 or 4 in the morning and start with the daily word. And actually, months before when we started talking about the film and meeting on a regular basis, we would start talking about the Bible. It was often like talking about scripture, talking about biblical characters, because Roman in some ways can be looked at as one of the apostles after Jesus does. He could sort of be like, the man who instilled this belief in me is gone. Where do I go with this?
You were a cornerstone of activism. You're inspiring.
I'm tired of doing the impossible for the ungrateful.
And you gotta make a living.
Does faith require activism?
Well, you have to use your gifts. You know, faith without works is nothing. So not everybody has to be an activist. A woman prophesied years and years ago that I would travel the world and preach to millions of people. And I have traveled the world. I don't know if I'm a preacher, but through my work, I've spoken. And now I try to speak more in public. But I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit. So he didn't say stay in your lane, but you know, so try to be an agent for good. You know, that's what I'm all about now.
He is indeed an agent for good. Roman J. Israel is in theaters Thanksgiving Day. We'll be right back. The holiday movie season is here, and filmmakers are giving us a new take on an old favorite with The Man Who Invented Christmas. The movie is based on the inspiring true story of how Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol. Here's your Studio 5 first look.
Then a toast, my love, my dearies, to our Merry Christmas. God bless us.
God bless us. God bless us, everyone.
Dickens' A Christmas Carol has been told time and time again, on stage and on screen.
The interesting thing is it's on surface, it's all fun and roaring fires and horse chestnuts and snow and dancers and blind man's buff, but the genius of Dickens is that he transcends all that, and it's really about being a human being and finding out what it is to be a human being and how you can share the world a little bit. And I think that's why it resonates. That's why still that book gets sold in its millions around the world.
Now moviegoers get the story behind the classic tale in The Man Who Invented Christmas. Based on Les Standiford's book, the movie introduces viewers to 32-year-old Charles Dickens, who wrote the literary classic in just 6 weeks, all in an effort to keep creditors at bay.
Why Christmas?
Why not?
Does anybody really celebrate it anymore, apart from our clerk?
The film is set in Victorian England, a time when Christmas had become unpopular.
What we mean to say, Mr. Dickens, is not much of a market for Christmas books, what?
It is a Christmas book because Christmas is, or ought to be, the one time of year when men and women open their shut-up hearts and think of the people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave and not another race of creatures altogether.
Dan Stevens plays Dickens. He's best known for his breakout role as Matthew Crawley in Downton Abbey and playing the Beast in Disney's live version of Beauty and the Beast.
We are already halfway through October. Even if you'd already written it, we couldn't possibly get it illustrated, typeset, printed and bound, advertised and distributed to shops in only 6 weeks.
Were you familiar with the story behind the Christmas Story? I mean, the fact that his life was so interplayed in it and the deadline and all of that?
I actually went and really mined. There's a great annotated edition of Christmas Carol with a fantastic introduction by a scholar called Michael Hearn, who lives here in New York. And there was some amazing details, you know, little detail about his relationship with Forster and accounts from his daughter's diaries about finding her dad making these weird faces in the mirror and conjuring these characters. And he really had to make them vivid and alive.
Humbug.
What is?
Christmas.
What about it?
Well, I mean, what is it but an excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December?
Yeah, keep going.
A time for paying bills without money. A time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer.
Veteran actor Christopher Plummer plays Dickens's vision of the iconic Ebenezer Scrooge.
It was a double. We did bits of Scrooge and bits of whoever this guy was.
Every morning you greet me.
The Academy Award winner adds this latest role to his more than 50-year career.
It's a classic character, obviously, and I'm used to classic characters, so I'm just having one more to chalk up on my career as a classical actor.
Did you approach this as an adventure story in terms of how you wanted it told?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is an adventure story. It's you know, people always forget it's a bit of science fiction. You know, it's a man who goes back, and it's Back to the Future. It's a man who goes back in time and meets himself and becomes a better person for it. And it was the first time it was ever done, 1843. I mean, no one had done it before. Even The Time Machine hadn't been written by H.G. Wells. No one had even had that. And so, for me, it's a great rollicking adventure. It always has been.
Merry, Merry Christmas to one and all.
The Man Who Invented Christmas is in theaters today. CBN is sharing a message of hope to children all across India. CBN held Superbook camps for Children's Day in India. With the help of Jesus Calls Ministry, nearly 10,000 children in 80 different locations watched the biblical story of David and Goliath. The children learn when God is on your side, there is nothing you cannot achieve. Both children and teachers love the world-class animation, and they learn from Superbook curriculum. Some excited children even got to meet Gizmo the robot in person. Well, right now it is time for your Wednesday Word, and I want to leave you with this thought. If you continue to allow your past to occupy your present, you are postponing your future. In other words, stop stressing about what is already done. In the words of my grandmother, what done, 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 done. Past mistakes and bad decisions are just that. Your past doesn't, they're your past. Don't waste another present moment worrying about it or giving or not forgiving yourself as well. Move on, press forward to that higher calling that is indeed still waiting for you. That is a wrap for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about always at cbnnews.com. Take the time to tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here. We certainly would love to hear from you. You can do that by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We look forward to hearing from you. Hope you join us again right here next time. Make this a wonderful Wednesday and a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Goodbye and God bless.